It wasn't a policy update. It was a thunderclap. On the morning of June 4th, in a move that threw markets into a tailspin and corporate executives into a frenzy, Donald Trump verified what industry insiders dreaded most. The international steel and aluminum duty was no longer 25%. It was now 50%. The remarks rang out from a Pennsylvania rally platform like a warning shot. We are stepping up efforts to defend our steelworkers. What followed was stillness in boardrooms, factories, and trading floors. Because what just occurred was not an economic adjustment. It was a major economic disruption. And in a country that relies on steel and aluminum for everything from bridge beams to truck cab panels, this is more than simply a new tariff. It's a chain reaction. A slow-motion bomb ripped through car lines, construction yards, aerospace warehouses, and packing facilities. And this is already occurring. Before we proceed, please click the like button to help us defeat the YouTube algorithm and show your support. Steel prices, which had been falling internationally for months, rose nearly overnight. Futures rose beyond $900 per ton. American steel producers rejoiced. Their stock surged. But for everyone else, from car makers to canners, the joy faded into worry. Because this is more than simply safeguarding employment. It is about penalizing This signifies one thing. Cars are set to get more costly. Much more. And that is only the beginning. Construction companies are ready for a tough summer. Steel and aluminum form the backbone of any commercial structure. For every high-rise and bridge project, developers who signed contracts based on 25% tariffs now confront material costs that are twice what they expected. Budgets are being ripped apart. Schedules are crumbling. In certain cities, initiatives have been delayed indefinitely. Contractors are not just altering spreadsheets. They're laying off staff. In the packaging industry, the shock is equally as profound. Aluminum, the hidden hero of every food can, beverage, and spray bottle, is currently in low supply and high demand. Can producers receive warnings that prices are already rising? Small bottlers and artisan breweries believe they may have to close. They can't pass on the additional cost without losing clients. However, they cannot absorb it either. And now, the conflict has gone global. Mexico, one of the top steel exporters to the U.S., is already holding emergency meetings. President Claudia Sheinbaum stated that Mexico is considering retribution. They avoided past tariffs via diplomacy. However, with no exemption given this time, the steel flow may halt, or retribution may commence. Canada isn't holding back. Prime Minister Mark Carney described the proposed levies as unwarranted and harsh. His administration has already promised countermeasures, including increased tariffs on American consumer items such as bourbon, motorbikes, and kitchen equipment. The message from Ottawa was obvious. Canada isn't for sale. And across the Atlantic, the European Union is plotting a $100 billion counterstrike. A written list of It is the quiet of little producers. Tool and die businesses in Ohio. Stamping factories in Alabama. The coil purchasers are from Pennsylvania. These are the ones who will be targeted first, and the toughest. Many people will not make it out alive. Some people already know this. Every time an Indiana packaging executive described the tariff as a horror picture. They reject it not for political reasons, but because they know what will come next. First, the metal becomes rare. Then it becomes pricey. Then the suppliers begin to withdraw contracts. Then the orders stopped pouring in. It is not a hypothesis. It's memory. This has occurred previously. In 2018, the United States put a 25% tax on imported steel. Back then, backers said it would boost domestic output. And for a while, it did. Steel production increased. A few abandoned factories have restarted, but underneath the headlines, the effects accumulated. Manufacturers saw input prices jump by more than 10%. Small metal-consuming enterprises have filed for bankruptcy. Now, the stakes are considerably higher. This is not 25%. This is 50%. And political tensions are also high. In Washington, politicians from both parties are divided. Not along party lines, but rather along economic ones. Senators from the Rust Belt applaud the tariff as long overdue protection. West Coast officials worry that it might jeopardize renewable energy projects that rely largely on steel imports. Governors from manufacturing-heavy states are pressing for exemptions. Some are begging the White House to postpone implementation. Others are prepared for layoffs. Globally, the atmosphere is aggressive. Allies, who become trading partners, now sound like enemies. The atmosphere in Brussels, Ottawa, and Mexico City is hardly diplomatic. It's defiant. What happens next is a question with no obvious solution. However, one thing is clear today. The most important trade decision of the year was made with only one signature. And the globe, not just the metal market, is already responding. And for American consumers, the pain may come gently. Not a headline, but a receipt. It starts in the checkout line. A refrigerator that originally cost $1,400 is now priced at $1,600. A vehicle that formerly sold for $28,000 is now $32,000. A six-pack of Coke ranges from $5 to $5.75. Each increment is tiny. Each one is warranted. Because somewhere along the chain, a piece of steel or aluminum has now become 50% more expensive. This is not policy for working families, small businesses, or young individuals looking to finance their first car. It's punishment. Not intentional, but unavoidable. And if the expenses climb too much, the ripple becomes a tsunami. Consumer spending slows, orders decrease, factory output decreases, jobs disappear again. This is the dilemma of protectionism. To save one industry, another must suffer. Some would argue that it's a necessary sacrifice. Others will describe it as economic sabotage. However, few people doubt the decision. The economy is currently being geared toward a single aim: to reinforce one metal, even if it means demolishing everything constructed on it. This is no longer simply a tariff, one built on antagonism rather than collaboration. A world measured in tariffs rather than trade flows, not in alliances, but via leverage. And if history is any indicator, the next announcement or escalation is already being scripted. Because in horror movies, the first fear is seldom